A group of US lawmakers have arrived in India, the delegation meeting the Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, with the head of the delegation saying President Joe Biden will soon sign a bill that aims to press China to resolve the Tibet dispute. The American delegation is on a two-day visit to Dharamshala. It is led by US House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCaul. The delegation of lawmakers includes former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and prominent congressional members. Triggering a strong protest from China, Beijing warned Washington of resolute measures to be initiated by China to firmly defend its sovereignty, security and development interests if American President Biden signs the new bill into law. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson has also urged Biden not to sign the bipartisan Tibet policy bill adopted by both the US Senate and the House of Representatives. All right, for more on this, we're now being joined by Principal Diplomatic Correspondent Siddhant Sibal, live from Dharamshala. Thank you so much for joining us, Siddhant. What can you tell us?
Well, it's going to be a packed ceremony. We know that ceremony is due to start in approximately 20 minutes from now. The US delegation right now is meeting His Holiness Dalai Lama. With me is a special guest, the spokesperson of the Tibetan government in exile, Tenzin Lekshe. So welcome to WION. In few moments from now, we will see the US delegation being publicly welcomed here. The Tibetan diaspora are all present. But essentially, how do you see this visit being significant for the American commitment towards the Tibetan cause?
So far, Americans were very consistent in their support for the Tibetan cause, particularly the Congress. And we have a bicameral, bipartisan support. And you can witness from the recent Resolve Tibet Act, where the House and both the Senates had resolutely passed the resolutions. Now it is at the desk of President Biden to sign. So we are hopeful that very soon President Biden will sign it into law. And there now the high-level congressional delegations is right now in Dharamshala, and we have a jubilant moment over here, and it's a very important moment for all of us.
But essentially, we have seen the Chinese reaction as well, a very sharp reaction coming from China, from Beijing. How do you assess this reaction? I know it's no surprise, it was given that the Chinese will react very strongly, but what's your reaction as a spokesperson of the Tibetan government in exile?
Rather than China's reacting to what is happening right now, I think it's a time for the introspection. China need to look into themselves and see what they have done so far to the Tibetan people. Since the Chinese occupation in 1949 to 50s, right? Whatever policy they have been implementing is just for their own sake and not to fulfill the Tibetan people's aspiration. So right now is the time for the China to wake up and do what they should do for the Tibetan people. And for that, the resolution is important. For that, the dialogue is important. So they need to immediately go for the Sino-Tibetan dialogue.
My final question to you, sir, is essentially India's take. How do you see India's support for the Tibetan cause?
Since from the day one, India has been supporting. Indian peoples are overwhelmingly supporting us, being sympathetic to us, and we have a strong leaders, politicians and medias and think tanks. We have lots of supports because India has a stake, right? So therefore, India's support is always there, and we felt gratitude to the Indian government and in public for all through this time.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining with WION. So there you have it, the reaction from the spokesperson of the Tibetan government in exile. But essentially, if my camera person can show you the color, given that the Tibetan community is present in full force here. And right now, if you can see that gate in front of you, that camera, that is the place where His Holiness Dalai Lama stays. And the US delegation will be coming from that delegation, from that place. And the delegation will be accorded the welcome here. Now you can see the bands also present, which will be giving the ceremonial guard of honor to the Tibetan delegation. And when they come here at the red carpet, they will be seated at this very place and will be making important statements that shows the commitment of the Tibetan, shows the commitment of the US Congress towards the Tibetan cause. We know that a Resolve Tibet Act is something that is on top of the mind of everyone. When will the US President Joe Biden sign that act? Because that act basically calls on China to engage with the representatives of the Tibetan government in exile based here in Dharamshala, and also deals with countering the Chinese misinformation. So a big day today here in Dharamshala, where of course everyone is now awaiting the visit of the US delegation, the delegation that is on almost a 2-day visit to this city where the Tibetan government in exile is based.
Right. Well, Siddhant, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Of course, we'll continue to track all developments with you there. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.